paper, scissors.
Oh, wait, we're not gonna just shoot. Okay.
Oh, I forgot he's white.
No, I just don't know. It's just like as a kid, I always did it like on scissors, rock paper scissors. But then like ever since I've been like in college, everyone does shoot. So I don't
I
understand.
do rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Well, how the fuck does this work?
All right, so we try again. Rock, paper, scissors. All right. Rock, paper, scissors. Hi, welcome to the podcast, guys. It's the WLTCG podcast, and we are bringing you yet another day or night this time of some spicy goodness. And by spicy, that means we got deck lists today and other information. My name is Roderick, as you know it. To my left is Sam. To my right is Hoel, and the whole room is filled with jank. So to get things started, we're talking about deck lists today, right?
Oh, yeah. We got 2 and I guess 3 GPs or whatever big events that happened.
Yeah.
2, we know for sure how the results and deck lists. The third being Hong Kong, which as of recording just finished to my knowledge or whatever. Like at least earlier in the day it finished.
Yeah, information is still developing.
Yeah, we got who won and who got second place, but we don't know the deck
So
list.
who won?
So then we go up to but the winner was Loki.
Loki, and I believe you said Isis got second.
Yeah, Isis got second. And
So
they did not have a ban list.
yeah.
So we don't know which build, because I've seen multiple builds of Loki, like where they're just doing the normal blue-black shenanigans, like you'll see in a typical black deck with blue splashed in. And I've also seen the Loki decks that just run a pretty kind of heavy machine build to it. That's just like a early game aggression.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like Loki decks right now?
Yeah.
Like even after the new set?
Yeah.
Do they still run it blue-black, or do they just like forget the black and just still go?
It's blue-black, but their early game is machines. Their mid game is the Loki.
Oh, okay.
And
That's pretty
that's
interesting.
that's the current build that I'm trying to make, but I think they've kind of refined it more.
Okay, that's interesting. Seems kind of weird, but I mean, if the shoe fits, then wear it.
Yeah, but that's the Hong Kong one. Not much to talk about for now, since I don't even think we have the player names we topped. We just have the deck lists. And I guess the latest one, I can't remember. But point is, Germany was one of the events that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And who took Germany? Was it?
That was the one with the ban list, right?
Yes, Germany.
Okay,
did have
that
the
was
ban list.
Adam.
Yeah, okay.
Adam with the ban list. Adam has been topping.
Yeah, so for players that don't know, the kind of European ban list that some European players follow but some don't is Sealing Scrolls banned for Hanzo, Lancelot's banned for machines, and Sacrificial Altar is banned for black decks pretty much. And I guess without those checking decks, Adam is kind of hard
Adam
to
roulette,
beat.
man. Like you just play a bunch of big things, you play a bunch of rouletting, and then you gamble until you win.
Yeah.
That's legitimately how they do it. And then like the fact that like Adam pairs well with Alice, which is like one of those cards where everyone always figured it was just gonna be a diversity. Everyone was saying how bad diversity was gonna be with this and how overpowered it was. And then she's just gonna win with that diversity all the time.
I kind of figured that diversity thing would have been pretty janky, a little bit too janky for the meta to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna perform as much as people think it is. Although we won't technically know since every single tournament has been clustered until we got the Jeremy's Forceful Festival, and then we have Worlds,
Which should be happening October 12th, I think.
So the true thing that's going to tell us is Worlds, because obviously everyone's going to be testing for big names, big people, and by then we would have seen Festival.
Yeah.
Like if you take Alice Diversity and it's just horrible, you're highly likely to not even worry about it at Worlds.
Yeah.
You're not even going to test it because if no one can get top 8 when they have like a month and a half, 2 months kind of time period to test it out. But
After looking at this list, part of me wants to say that really Alice isn't the thing that's carrying this list.
I didn't
Dark
say-
Alice is
Dude,
carrying
Dark-
No,
this
no,
list.
of course. I'm
I
just saying
see
that like
four
Alice,
different high gods in this deck. I think if Dark Alice disappeared from this list, the deck just fades into nothingness.
No, no. I'm not saying that Alice was the one carrying. I'm just saying that like everyone was like so worried about Alice diversity, when Alice by herself is just good.
I mean, yeah, she's still good. She's still a 10-10
I mean, you go,
with a bunch of stuff on her when she's at full power.
I mean, turn 1 you can just play her. You ditch an Atom to grave.
Yeah.
Turn 2 to turn 3, depending on if you have Energize or not, or what kind of will sources you have, you just play Alice, and then boom. Her parts met, you just start swinging and you start winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's early game damage. So, in a sense, that's almost a sort of aggro.
Yeah.
It's not traditional aggro, but it's just the fact that
I would call it decently fast mid range.
yeah. I think it's like early game. Like I think to be technical, this would be like a mid range, just because it has good early game, really good mid game, and if you last till end game, it can come back and it can start hitting hard.
Oh yeah, second place was Loki for Germany also.
Yep. Which I'm gonna point out, Alter was banned for this,
Yeah.
and they weren't running machines. But later on, when we get to the other list, when they didn't have a ban list, that Loki played machines. I thought that would be backwards.
Yeah.
You would think that without Alter, you would switch to more machine build. But I guess no one wanted to run machines at all because of no Lancelot?
Yeah, because as like Lancelot is a very key card in the machines. Like it helps break boards very easily.
Yeah.
And
So-
I think without Lancelot, there's no point in even attempting to play machines.
See, I would say this list, like the Loki that got second, it's pretty much just a normal blue, black with a little bit of green.
Yeah, so you could play the Athenia High God.
And I guess people are running the played a playset of the Fallen Angel commandment. I guess just to get the -4.
Probably, because
I mean, why not, right?
I could see the black one drop that, makes all your black stones tap for red be extremely important, especially in a cluster format most decks are playing a dual color kind of style deck. You spend,
Okay. And then, yeah, I just noticed that in the set deck, yeah, they do play some red cards.
Yeah.
2.
But it's
Technically
like-
one that they would never slide into, but yeah. I mean, -4 is just good. Takes care of commandments. It can finish trades. And then the fact that they're also playing the burial rites
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of graves, as long as you don't have a Dark Alice.
I mean, when I see a dark deck, I just go, okay, it's a dark deck. I'm expecting Look of Corruptions. If I see some green hit the board, I'm expecting some Athenias. The good old good stuff. It's Loki, so we got Return of God. That's a card.
Yeah.
So
You have Loki's Insight to tear out other Lokis.
yeah,
Yeah. And just good cards in general.
Yeah, it kind of is just... It looks like a solid deck, honestly.
Yep.
But not much to say. Is like, I'm not a big fan of these banless cluster decks. I don't know. That's probably because I just like machines so much that I can't
Mr.
imagine.
Machine over here.
Yeah.
I just... So recently I was talking to someone, Daniel, a friend of ours, especially, like, we were talking about clusters, cluster decks, and how, I guess some other people I talked to, but anyway, we were talking about the fact that I'm not a fan of cluster in general, just because I don't like it when I don't have a lot of cards to look at.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it when it's, like Wander, where it's so open, you have no idea what's coming at you. But I like New Frontiers, where it's just like, okay, I have like 5 to 8 sets, maybe like a structure deck here and there that I have to worry about for like rulers or specific cards. But it's, more open rather than, I feel like right now cluster is a good time where you have 4 sets.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when cluster should be a thing. I've just personally never understood like why Europeans play cluster 24/7.
Oh yeah, especially like when you just rotate into a
Yeah,
new
you just
set.
rotate into a new set, and it's like you have starter decks, a first set, and that's your entire format for like a few months. And typically, they get to the second set before they actually have a GP.
Yeah.
So that provides you some cards, but that's still what, like, if the new product is any, limitation, it's gonna be what, like 67 new cards,
God, imagine
right?
playing in the
So 67 times 2 plus the structure decks.
Yeah.
So you probably have what 160, 170 cards, like unique cards. That's not a lot. Like,
Yeah, I could kind of agree with that. I think cluster as a format is best once all the sets of that cluster out, because then you get to play the cluster in its entirety, or at least mostly intended form.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, I actually think playing in cluster sometimes is a bit of a refresh. I would never want to main cluster as a format. I think that would get pretty stale pretty fast, especially early on, because you don't have as many sets. Like, you release with starter decks in one set, it's going to take you like, what, a week and an hour to
break it.
to not only break it, but figure out the meta, and then things
Yeah.
get stale. Three sets in is the bare minimum I would ever want to see, like, cluster be taken seriously.
Yeah.
I think any time before that, cluster should just be like, oh, I'm going to play this on the side every once in a while and then go back to my New Frontier stuff once I'm bored with this again, As a matter of fact, I would say that could be a cool idea of, like, cycling in between New Frontiers and cluster over a little bit of time. So, like, New Frontiers most of the time, every once in a while do cluster, about same frequency as Wander. Because what that allows you to do is you get to see how the intentions of that cluster change over the course of that cluster without completely ditching the standard format.
Yeah.
You go like, okay, set 1, there are like 5 good cards. Put them in one deck and then go, and you go right back to New Frontiers where you got like 50 plus 5 new cards. Then, like, the new set comes out and you play a couple of cluster games, maybe do a cluster tournament or two, and you're like, all right, so that's the new stuff. Interesting change. Right back to New Frontiers and things like that. That would be pretty interesting to shake things up, but never cluster as a main. No,
Yeah.
not until set 4 at least.
I know I don't keep up with standard Magic. I haven't kept up with it in a very long time. But I know at some point in Magic's history, they have blocks, which are pretty much our clusters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually like when one block rotates out is when like the next block comes in, kind of like what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But for a short period of time, which I know upsetted a lot of people, is instead of block rotation, they did set rotation, and they would only have
I
like
heard about that.
8 sets at any point. So when the 9th set came out, that very first set in the rotation would go out.
That's virtually what the advanced format is for Force of Will, except instead of 8 sets, it's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That concept is a bit interesting to me. That's, again, another 50-50. I like the idea. It keeps things fresh, and a set has at most 1 year of legality. Like, it is going to be legal for 1 year. On one hand, if it prints some broken stuff, then you only got to wait a year.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it doesn't, like, if it feels weird. So here's a good example. If we look at Rhea Cluster sets 1 through 4, set 1, the very first set of a cluster has 2 years of illegality, whereas the very last set of a cluster has a year and 3 months of legality.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pretty much all rotate at the same time, but they haven't existed for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So we've actually been playing with Larite. Once rotation happens, we would have been playing with Larite for not only a year and 6 months, but actually like a year and 7 or 8 months, since rotation is going to be happening late this year. That means we've almost went 2 years with Larite, and that's feels kind of long.
It has
But
been a long
the
time.
same, like, Advance right now is the same thing as Cluster, which I find
Yeah.
funny. But the problem that a lot of people have had with Advance is, so when the net set comes out for Alice, are all the Divinity Rulers gone?
So yeah, that's one of the other problems I have with it,
Because
is because if
NV0 and NV1 are technically tied as a set. So then it just becomes of like, well, then Alice comes in, maybe we get like 2 or 3 new rulers, maybe 5. It's like, okay, so like most of the cards like 25 to 50% of every single set had runes.
Mm-hmm.
Now the concept's just gone because we have no rulers. Like, great.
Well, that
Like,
extends
they're just
to
rune chants.
that extends to the other thing I was gonna say is that, as I was saying about like earlier, playing cluster every couple months just for the fun of it to see how the intentions of that cluster evolve. There are cards that are built that are dependent on previous cards in that cluster. So with things like advanced, once you hit that particular time frame, so like once Alice does come out and those rotate, other than the fact that, we wouldn't have any rulers to play with those cards, there could have been cards in set 2 that are like directly linked with cards in set 1, and not just in a simple way of like, oh, if you control this card, gains effect, but like, here's a good example. Mega Thunderfish was a card that came out in Ancient Knights, and it was literally direct support for Shayla in Time Spinning Witch.
Yeah.
Literally, like, straight up, it came with text on the card that we didn't even understand. And so, like, if you rotated out Mega Thunderfish before Giga, then the entire point of using Giga just got shafted for the most part. Sure, he's got other effects, but like, you just took out one of the cards that he searches for. So it is weird. Yeah. It's not good. Now, what if they did do an 8 set width instead of a 4 set width?
Like, I think that would be...
It would be better, but we may still run
So
into
right
the
now,
same
we would still
situation.
have Prisia. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Prisia?
RD. No. I mean, like we would have had Prisia for the past, like...
Oh, yeah. For that, until this recent set, we
Yeah.
Well, we have 8 sets now.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm
if
saying,
we
I'm saying-
shifted one set back, we have Echoes of the New World.
so 6 months ago.
So
we've
yeah.
had Prisia
So
for
Strangers of the
next
New
gen.
Valhalla, we would have still had Prisia if she
Yeah.
didn't get booted.
Yeah.
What would
I don't
Prisia
know if I
been
like that. I would have kept
No.
Lapis, though. And that I like. Lapis.
Oh, I got an idea. So Pokemon has started doing this recently, and they haven't used it to full effect, partly because they've only been doing this in Japan, but it's coming overseas now. We have confirmation. They use a lettering system for their cards. So they have rotation, and usually they rotate.
Are they finally going to bring that into English?
So it's going international. So for people who don't know, in Pokemon, they started this at the start of the Sun and Moon era, but it only existed in Japan in concept. It sort of translated over here, but there's none ever that's specified it. So people started noticing that cards would show a set number, things like that, but it will also have a letter next to it, like A, B, and C. So at first, we were thinking that, okay, this is a way for them to distinguish between cards they print in the sets and promo cards, because they also at the same time introduced a system that they could release promo cards, but they kept their set legality, and they printed special lettering on that as well. So we thought, okay, this is for that. But as time passed, we learned that the lettering is actually a way for them to continue the rotation system, but allow for certain cards to remain in format depending on the letter on their card. So the first 4 sets of Sun and Moon had an A. The next 4 had a B, and now we're in C block. Once Sword and Shield base set comes out, they start D block. Now, right now, all that's doing is just marking their blocks, their clusters. But in theory, and something that they're probably going to do now that it's going international, is certain cards that are printed will have lettering on them that allows them to survive rotation, because from now on, they're not going to say, hey, these sets rotate. They're going to say, hey, cards with these letters are no longer legal. Or on the flip side, only cards with these letterings marked on them are legal. So that allows, like, let's say Ultra Ball gets reprinted, which God, I hope it does, and they want it to survive at least until E block. In theory, they could print a D on there and an E. Or they could simplify it and just say, E and on down the alphabet exists. Yeah. We'll find out what Japan wants to do. But it allows it to survive rotation even if they don't directly reprint that card. Now, depending on how wild they get with that, that could get crazy. But on the flip side, remembering the letter on a card is a bit easier than remembering what set it come from. Because if I just go to you and say,
because that's one of my biggest problems with Pokemon is I hate whenever I ask someone, I'm like, hey, what set's illegal? And like you or mainly like Frankie will just be like, oh yeah, like Sun and Moon onwards, and I'm like, I can't tell. These are symbols.
yeah,
They're literally just like, hey, here's a mountain with the sun. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, it means like I'm just gonna make something shining light, and you're like, how was I supposed to know that? Like,
so that's a good point.
Force of Will has like LEL is legacy
Yeah.
loss, ENW echoes of the new world. Like every single letter makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you get to Pokemon. It's like, hey, here's a picture of a sun, and you're like,
here's a
oh,
picture of
is
three
this
arrows
sec-
pointing upwards.
yeah.
And it's like, what is
one of
that?
them
Oh,
is-
it's Guardians Rising.
One is a circle.
What the fuck?
Yeah. One of them,
That makes no sense.
So that's the point I'm bringing up is that for people who play Pokemon, we ain't got to worry about that. Like, I know what sets are legal from off the top of my mind. Like, Ultra Prism onwards, UPR, I know what all the symbols look like. I know what all the cards look like. I just go, oh, that's legal, that's not legal. Even if there are reprints, like they'll come out with secret rares that would let a card like exist in the format because they have new numbering and stuff. I can just look at it and go, okay, that's still legal. How do you know? I can't find it in any of the sets. Oh, it's a secret rare in this particular set. How do you know that? Oh, I've been playing the game for like since 2012, 2013, so I just kind of know. But for new players or somebody that doesn't play as much, they're just sitting there like, the fuck? So, like on the flip side, if they go to the lettering saying, hey, if it has a D and above, it's good. And if you see a card with a B on it, you go, okay, it's not legal.
yeah.
It's simple. So, assuming that they really do take advantage of that, that's going to help out a lot of players. And I know Force will probably, well, now that I think about it, let's go into the realm of speculation a bit. And this is a nice segue into like this new Alice origin and what they're doing with the packs. So we're getting memorial cards, we heard. And we've been told that they won't be legal. Honestly, if there are 80 memorial cards that aren't legal, there's a whole way I'm feeling about that, but let's speculate for now. Let's say that Force of Will does something interesting. Let's say that the whole part about them not being legal isn't exactly accurate, and it's similar to like a reprint system where these memorial cards are successors to older cards that they printed before. But you can only use these memorial cards. Like if When Secluded Refuge was a memorial card, it's definitely not going to be in this set, but let's just say it was. Something about that card, like the functionality is the same, but something about that card denotes whether or not it can be used in tournaments. So you can't
what
go.
they've said, it's going to have a very, very specific border.
Okay.
So that's not great for new players, but at least it's easy enough for like other people to be like, hey, like let's say, you know, like in Pokemon, you know, at least for Americans, it has like the silver border.
In Japan, it has a silver border.
No, I'm saying but in America,
In America, it's yellow. Yeah.
no, I'm saying it's silver whenever it's non-legal.
Right. Yeah. You mean
like
that.
it could be something like that where it's just like, hey, like this one has a black like line around it that like twirls or something. You know, like you're like, this is the only time you will ever see this, and this just means it's non-legal. They could also, of course, like taking a hint from which is like Pokemon, they could put like, you know how normally it would be like DFB dash 001, but they could put like AO dash whatever the first three letters are and the set number. So they could just start using that way. That way people can be like, well, the memorials don't have this. Other cards do, you know? Where it's just like the memorials have maybe a P on them just to be like, hey, this is promo or promotional or C for collectible. But, you know, Alice Origins has AO. And then if it's not from this set, then it, you know, it follows the old rules, you know, like normal. So therefore, for some reason, they started like printing like the country that cards were for.
They did?
For like a set or two. They had NA.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So
they just kind of started it and we were like, why is it there? And they kind of went, okay. And then they stopped doing it. And we were like, what?
Now, I know they did that like way back when, especially around the time that Force of Will was just now coming to America. Now that could have been more of an internal
I
thing.
thought it started at the end of Alice when it was already in America.
It
don't
could
really remember.
have. It could have.
I thought
But
it
I
was
do
like
remember
a
seeing that lettering.
Yeah.
I do actually remember seeing that in BFA.
Yeah. Because I remember BFA, and I think BFA may have been the only one actually. So we don't know why they did it. It was just kind of like they did it and they stopped, and maybe it was in CFC, but I don't
It's
think
so
so.
weird.
Unless some other country has special prints of certain cars that are even more busted than we have, so they got to specify like, all right, North America got
I
weak
don't know,
version.
man. BMB and Lapis Dark Storm were pretty strong. Mom and Pop. Like I recently
Is Lapis' Darkstorm BFA?
Yes.
Really
it is.
now?
I
I thought
didn't
that
know-
came out in Twilight Wander.
you would think so. No,
It's BFA.
it's like, hey, Lapis came on the set, right? Yeah. So support cards net set, and you're like, what? What?
Actually, Lapis came out in the Moonlit Savior.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. Like TMS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And BFA came out, and then the Black Moonbeam to fight RR, which I have a video about that. To fight RR didn't work. They gave us Lapis Darkstorm.
And
They gave us
then
Mom Pop.
they gave us a +1 and we're like, haha, y'all gonna want this card back again like 4 sets later,
Dude,
3
Mom
sets
and
later.
Pop are the
And they were like,
best.
why does it say Ancient Magic? What does that do? They're like, look at these starter decks. They're like,
I will never
Ancient
forget.
Magic.
One of the last things I remember from Jordan ever saying, for those of you that remember the super old liaison for Forza,
the Jordan era.
we once asked, hey, we now have, because this was when we just got Soul. We're like, hey, we have one that produces blue, one that produces red, one that produces both, and we have this ancient magic from BFA. Are we going to get something that can produce black? And he was like, no, of course not. That would be way too strong. And we were like, wow, so it's not going to be like blue black or like
blue, red,
white black maybe?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it won't produce any color. It will not produce, black. And you're like, if you say Jordan, then we see Daddy and we're like, oh, it's
Big Dad Gil.
Big Daddy, where we're like, oh, hey, cool, it's black, white. I guess he can produce it. And then we read the effect and we're like, oh, it can produce everything.
Yeah.
Why'd you play any of the other ones at this point?
There's no other reason to play any of the
The
ancient
only time
magic
you could
rulers
ever
besides
do
blue.
it is if you really wanted to go off with
Soul. Soul was really good at knocking
Soul
out.
or actually
Mercurius.
No, it
Mercurius,
was
but
just
even at the
Soul.
same point, yeah, Soul can just do.
So
Because of the
Soul had
the-
trade-offs.
The demon that he pitched gave him an insane amount of counters,
Yeah.
but that was like a glass cannon.
Yeah.
If you failed that, then you're done.
well, they gave for the first 3, Mercurius, Mars, Soul. They all gained the same amount of counters. The problem was Mercurius, regardless if she had the thing or not, was still a 10-10 body that could do some damage.
Yeah.
So you could get away with stacking a bunch of counters beforehand and then coming in, but normally you wouldn't want to do that. But still, with Soul, his stats heavily relied on that familiar. He did get 100 attack and defense more than Mars and Mercurius, but his engine was a bit weirder. He really wanted to burn you down.
yeah,
That's
And-
truly what that
and
was.
he also had the ancient magic that allowed him to search for ancient magics.
Yeah.
Then
and
red
then
and blue.
Daddy just started using it.
Yeah, and then Dad's like, "Oh,
Nice.
I could produce all ancient magic
It's like, give my
colors."
shit back.
No, because you naturally would play blue because blue
Yeah.
is good with black. So you play black, white, blue, so that we could tap for 1, pay 1 counter, search for Black Moonbeam, pay 2 counters, hit them with Black Moonbeam, you win the game. Maybe not immediately, but
Yeah.
you get there.
And then they bust out Odin because they have an astral counter now. Let's do it.
I cannot wait for people to be like, yeah, flip my roll, and they're like, B&B, and you're like, thank you. And they're like, what does he mean by thank you? Charles plays Odin, and then you're like, that's why he said thank you. I'm dead. But then that's when Big Daddy just goes, okay, colossal form, I'm bigger.
Jesus Christ. But anyways, we went on a really bad tangent for like a solid like.
So we're going to go back to the deck list, or we're
Yes.
going to go back to the
Well,
set?
We're gonna go back to the deck list at top or
Do you want
to
to
the next tournament.
Yeah, do you want to just skip over to...
So the next one we're gonna be going to was Italy, the Italian tournament that went down. So as we know,
Brunhilde won.
yeah, Brunhilde
Also,
won.
this is the tournament that did not have a ban list.
Yes, they had no ban list, but it was still cluster format. So it was Brunhild first, Adams second, were our top 2 decks. Third place was Hanzo, black green, and fourth place was Loki. But this Loki list used a heavy machine engine.
Yeah, which I still find weird. I guess you just don't tech in machines if you don't have Lance.
Yeah. That's about it. But the Brunhild deck that topped was not the normal black-white builds that we're used to seeing here in NA. It was a white-green list, which mainly just canceled stuff,
Yeah.
as green decks do.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
What colors were the Brunhild?
green-white.
All right. Well, that tells
although
us how that goes.
yeah,
And
that's good.
looking at these lists and going past the top 4, Dark Alice plays a really big part in a lot of these white decks.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
mean, like,
play.
there's no point in not playing Dark Alice because at bare minimum, it's a 1-drop that can draw you 2 cards and filter out bad things.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like for Adams, like it's just like turn 1, you can flash it in during your opponent's end phase, so that way they didn't have main timing to kill it.
Mm.
You flash in, you get to draw a card, discard something, draw a card, discard your Atom, go do your turn, draw a card. And depending on if you went first or second, like I said, they can play Alice, or you can, I mean, her ability is now off, so you can start just playing, you could have mono white, and then you start playing green things, because, why not? So it gives you access to different runes.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same point, they can't go too far off. Like, if you notice, like, they have, like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, yeah, and by
5
the way,
cards?
we'll link the tournament reports in the comments.
Yeah, sorry. So there's 3 perfect Lokis. Like, I'm looking at the Atom deck, which got second. So there's 3 perfect Lokis, 2 Loki's Insights, and that's it for the main deck that they cannot produce naturally. Wait, I mean, of course, Alice. So 3 Alices? Yeah.
Yeah, like,
So total of what, like 8 things by technicality. So that's a fifth of the deck.
yeah.
Presuming that they did 40, haven't counted it. But presuming that they did 40 cards, I mean, like, a fifth of the deck being colors you can't naturally produce isn't bad when you have, 4 Dark Alices, and then
4 Atom Resonators.
yeah, I mean that doesn't produce mana.
But it allows
Yeah,
you-
yeah,
but,
I get what you mean.
But
yeah.
it puts Dark Alice online for all your stones to tap for everything.
Yeah, so you can early game it out, you can mid game it out, and then if it comes late enough and you pull into an Atom, you can always just play, and it's a 14/14 with Drain.
Too fucking good for 2.
And if you flipped all of your runes, it costs 2 white.
Yeah.
Did you know gaining life is bad for you because then it extends the time on the match, and then when you both start gaining life, you go into time, and then when time runs out and you ain't finished game 1, y'all gonna be mad. And that's why we speed.
But I know a game where no life was ever gained, but it still lasted 3 hours.
That's a tree deck though. That's tree 2.0.
I still love that.
Tree was a horrible mirror match.
Tree 2.0. Well, screw both of them. But
Tree 1 at least had play arounds. Tree 2 was just like the only play around is if you can force your opponent to lose life. Not
Yeah.
damage. Lose life.
Because any damage they take, they just mill
That's what I love
instead.
about, like, wow, there's a 3-cost non-quick cast that kills a Resonator and your opponent loses like 4 life. This is trash. Who would play 3 mana for this when we have like 2 manas that do it, at quick cast speed? And then they went, oh wait, Tree. Oh, this is my answer to Tree. They go down to like 1 or 2 life. They're like, you can't do damage to me. And then I just go, don't need damage. You lose 400 to 500 life. It's 400, right?
Yeah, I think so.
well, I'm going to go look up a very different card. There we go. Moonlit
Oh.
Canopy. There we go.
The card that I actually teched in against Tree a couple times.
Yeah, at the beginning of each player's main phase, that player loses 400 life.
You play it, and then you pass, and they're like, you have until you recover pretty much to kill this thing. Good luck.
Yeah.
And if that didn't kill them, the next turn will.
Oh no! Why aren't people playing this with the Lucifer Resonator? If you have Lucifer on field, you're never really losing 400 life, but your opponent is losing 400 life.
I never thought of it that way.
I just noticed his Hanzo list. Like,
Also,
third place.
doesn't that work with Satan?
It does.
Oh shit!
All right, I'm breaking more shit.
I
Yeah.
wonder, but I
Not Wander. This is Wom.
Yeah, this is Winds of the Ominous Moon.
Sorry about the
homie.
sound, guys. Yeah, Winds of the Ominous
What?
Moon.
Yeah, this is still legal for about a
have two
month and a half.
foils.
We have a month and a half to break this card.
Oh Jesus Christ! I thought that was older.
That with Lucifer's pretty. That's pretty.
If you had 2 Lucifers, I feel you gain 400 life a turn.
Just resisting in the world.
Then your opponent's losing life, and then you're putting Satan online. And then
Yeah.
once you come to your turn, you got like 13 counters on Satan, and you bring him in, and your opponent's like, what does he do? Oh, no. Let me go read Satan real quick. Y'all continue.
But you gotta remember, it's not just 400. If you have 2 Lucifers, it's every single one of those is getting you 400.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
lose
yeah.
400, but
No,
then
no.
you gain 400 to put you back at even, and then you gain
And
400.
I'm saying you have 2 Lucifers. 2 additions now.
Oh,
That's 800 life you're getting.
All
Your
of
opponent's
this
now
is
losing 8. You're the aggro guy. Don't you love burning people out?
No, I'm saying I don't like where this is going because it's going to make me start to
The only
think
bad part
deep
is that it's
mind
what
things.
it's 3 mana to play it.
yeah. 2 black, 1 void.
So 2 black, 1 void. So that's my turn 3. Your turn 3 is playing Isis, gnarly, and hitting me for like 20. Yeah, good GG guys. Like
20? Where'd the other 10 come from?
you have other things on the board.
Okay, yeah.
You
Okay.
have
Presume-
Wait, you're not
100%.
killing my shit?
Because like turn 1, I'm gonna presumably just play like a 1-drop. Turn 2, I'm probably gonna kill one of your things, and then turn 3, I'm not killing anything because I'm playing this edition.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you have at least. your
But then
turn
coming
2.
into my main phase, I'm losing 400 life.
Yeah, but you lose 400 life, but then you're gonna deal
a lot more.
a lot more. So there's gnarly, whatever else you had on the board. So let's just say 6/6.
Mm-hmm.
That's 16. Maybe you swung with already because you had swiftness. So I've taken 22. And then it goes to my turn, and I take 4. Because I don't have the Lucifer out yet. Now I play the Lucifer, pass back to you. I gain my 4 life back. You kill me.
Okay, so
Or you just actually.
we know it's just too slow now.
Yeah.
No,
It's too
no.
slow, but it's funny that it works.
Yes.
So I forgot.
So,
that card works.
other than ISIS, this is good. This
Yes.
is good. Other
Oh
than
no,
ISIS.
because
No.
No,
Keys' Call or Night Blade. I do not like those. Because if I okay, I play these 2. You lose 8. Yeah, my turn. I lose 8. Trigger, cancel. Swing with my 2020 Vivian in the air, and I'm like, okay, great, I lose.
yeah,
I'm dead now. Although if you have a 2020 Vivian, I should have lost by then.
Yeah.
Although, would you like to tell quickly the podcast listeners about what you did to me this past Thursday?
Okay, so every Thursday we meet up at the local game store, which hosts almost all of our games now. But me and Sam were kind of just deck testing. I was playing machines. He was playing which black deck were you playing?
Lucifer.
Oh yeah, he was playing like a red black Wicked Spirit Lucifer deck that he was wanting to test out. Well, he didn't get to
It wasn't Wicked Spirits at the time, but yes.
Oh,
It was black-green.
Okay, it was just black-green Lucifer. I can't remember. You've been playing 2 different Lucifer builds, but
Okay.
either way, it didn't matter because he didn't get a chance to play the game.
For 4 turns
for
in a
four-
row,
for
he
four-
minus 10 on Lancelot every turn without fail.
Yeah, for 4 turns straight. In response to his draw phase, I went minus 10 Lancelot.
So how do I win a game where I have no enters, no activates on my resonators? You don't, kids. If I had any enters within that.
So what color
period-
was your deck, Sam?
black red?
Black red? So what it should have been
Sorry, black green. My bad.
black green? So there should have been some light in there. You just play crippling light. And you kill everything but the Alice on the board.
Yeah. If I don't have anyone to produce light. 0.
But nah, man. I felt kind of... I should have felt disgusted by that.
You should have, but you didn't. You dirty machine player, dirty boy. But yeah, so I wanted to move past these deck lists because I don't feel like talking about Hanzo for the next hour. Seal and Scroll, too powerful in cluster. I mean, come on, when you print something that just says, imagine if I had a 0 cost card on my ruler, and once per game I just got to say your Regalia now is null and void. It is now removed from the game, put in your side deck.
Wait, hold up. I'm over here looking at deck lists. the hell did you just say?
I said Steal the Scroll. I compared it to like, what if I had a free card that was outside the game that I could just reveal once per game, and I just got to say your Regalia is now null and void. It's RFG. You can never get it back.
Regalia or Rune?
Regalia. I'm saying comparison.
Oh, okay.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
That would be our savior to Levitain. The problem is then it becomes the bane of all the other Regalia's existence.
It becomes a vein, and it's also just like Lave. I'll remove it from the game. Lave. You can only do that once per turn. But yeah, like the fact that Hanzo's thing is just like, hey, you have 5 cards that you can play during this game.
Yeah.
That's good for you. I have a free cost that just says no to one of yours.
Yeah. So
And in Cluster, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Unless you play, what's its name? Kaguya.
yeah,
So you have to play
Kaguya's-
green yourself. At that point, you're just going to be playing Hanzo.
Yeah. So then
It just becomes Steal the Scroll thing, and it's so boring.
Did I ever tell you about that time I flipped Sylvia on turn 2 against Daniel?
I probably was there at that point.
Because all it took was a Sacred Elf and 3 Levitains. Play Lave, pitch 2, tap, flip, kill, recover my stone.
I'll never forget, like, it's just like, hey, I'm going to flip, what is it? I'm going to flip my ruler, turn 2, yes, I'm going to kill you, and you're like, but your ruler costs 2, and how are you killing me? Well, it's quite simple, my dear boy. So what you do is you go turn 1.
Are we talking about Prisia?
Yes.
It costs 3. No.
It cost 3 when they changed it. It cost 2
Yeah.
originally.
It
Oh,
costs 2.
right. You're right.
It
I
did.
forgot.
Because the play was go second, okay, draw, you're gonna tap for stone, remove energized token, play Sacred Elf, tap, hit red green stone, trigger target for swiftness, or just hit a red stone in general.
Yeah.
Tap both, play Fox,
Yeah.
pass.
That's pretty much it.
Draw for turn, untap, tap, tap for red, tap for green, flip, judgment, enter, new stone, tap for will.
He's still
Banish.
doing it wrong. But continue.
I mean, I forgot about the lave. I forgot to mention lave. Obviously, we're playing lave.
So all you need in hand is 2 specific cards and then a wild card.
Yeah.
All you need is a Sacred Elf, a Levitain, and any other Regalia that can pump you. That's all you need. Because all you go,
No, but if you want double swing, you need that fox.
I don't think you do.
No, because with the
No,
fox. So I now have fox and 1 stone up.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, without the fox and just a regalia, you wouldn't have the 2 mana it costs for a God's Art.
Let's see.
So I swing at 1,000. I pumped it with regalia. Let's just
Yeah.
say, you need to tap, banish, produce another one, recover.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about this. So
So I mean, I
Turn
guess
1.
in theory, you could just pitch a lave.
Well,
to
no,
produce
think about
red.
this because what I'm thinking is turn 1, you tap, hit red green, or hit away to it has to be some sort of red, so red green. Play Sacred Elf. Pass. Come to your turn, draw, recover. Play Lave. Play any other Regalia that can pump. Let's say Death Scythe. Tap Elf, tap Stone. Judgment. Prisia enter. Targets, put stone on bottom, get stone on top. She has swiftness because of Lave. You enter combat, you swing, you float. Put stone on bottom, get stone from
Right,
top.
because she flips
tap.
stone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like,
whenever
we don't
she
need the
attacks.
Fox. Whenever she enters and attacks, you cycle Stone
forgot she
or
said this.
Resonator. That's why I'm like,
Oh,
Fox,
Jesus
you
Christ.
got 1 card
I
over.
mean, people
Now,
still do
that makes it consistent. More
Yeah.
consistent. But if you just want to gank somebody in like 3 minutes, you
Yeah,
just
fox
go.
was for the 100% consistency. Plus,
Yeah.
it got you more mana.
Now,
So if you
granted,
didn't flip the next turn, you still just got a Maribella.
yeah.
Why is that a card?
Let's not talk about Prisia.
so anyway, focusing. So moving past the deck list. So let's talk about the information we have. So we've so the biggest thing is pre-releases now only come with 60 packs. So either we may get limited to 5 per person,
Yeah.
or you still keep the 6, but there's only now going to be 10 people that can play in a pre-release.
Probably what they're going to do.
I think 5 just because pre-release kit special PR is 12 copies.
Probably 5.
Yeah, probably 5 now.
Yeah.
Which I feel is weird, and I don't like that because
I
I
don't
like
like
getting 6 because it's an even number.
I mean, we could be like Final Fantasy, where America got shafted in their pre-release kits because I think it was Japan got like 7 or 8 packs, and America only got like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
That feels bad, bro.
So then for the actual set, we have 29 normal cards, 19 rares, 19 SRs, and 80 memorials. So memorials, if anyone doesn't know, is just cards that were promos during Alice Cluster, as far as we know, just Alice Cluster, and they're going to be in the packs, and they're not legal.
And that's what we've been told so far. Was it a French distributor
Yeah,
that
it was
mentioned?
a French distributor.
Yeah, French distributor's been talking about it, and kind of what he said, it was not going to be there, and people have been talking about how many we're going to get. I'm pretty sure it's going to be over 1. Like, I have really good confidence saying...
It has to be 2 or 3.
I have real good confidence it's going to be 3 or 4. Pretty good confidence.
I'm
I don't know 100% sure, but 3 to 4 is what they shouldn't do, but it's what they're going to do.
I'm going to sit on the side of skepticism and say 3 to 4 because I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then they do stupid stuff, and then I'm just like...
where it's just like, DVV, great SRs,
Yeah.
great rares, some good uncommons, and then you look at the commons and you're like, rune. I need one of these.
Yeah.
2 if I play him.
50% of a color is consumed by runes in the common and uncommon section, that is not good on the rates, especially when those cards are only literally a one of, not only in a deck, but in a deck of a certain color. So you couldn't even be spicy and be running an Isis deck and go, wow, look at Brunhild's Wrath. I'm going to throw that in there. No, you're not. Your ruler isn't light, so that card's completely dead to you. And besides, you only need 1 copy. You just pulled 6. How do you feel? I feel like shit.
Man, I don't even know how many fucking copies of runes we got from our case. It's so many.
Dude, I like pulled like all like the stuff I wasn't that have extra from like the case.
Yeah.
Or like my 2 boxes. And like the stack I have for me is about this big. The stack I have that's not for me is about this big.
I think it's about the same for me.
So like out of a box, like this is for like me. This is what I'm donating to people. Because it's just like so much of it where I'm like, yeah, these are runes. Like I kept a playset of runes.
Yeah.
Just because, okay, if I lose 1 or damage 1, I got extra. But I'm not going to keep any more. Like most sets, I would keep like 4 to 6 of a copy of a card, depending on how well I think it does. But like this one is like all the runes. I'm like, yeah, I only need 4 ever because I already have copies of them. Yeah, I can agree with him with 3 to 4 just because they did this to us.
Yeah.
Now moving on to starter decks, which has a lot of it.
I can't wait to talk about starter decks. I got some conspiracy theories for that too.
So I want to hear this, but I'm just gonna run through. It's 61 cards. So you might be thinking it's kind of confusing. So I'll run it down. It's rulers 1 card.
Okay.
It's not 2 rulers. It's 1. Not 3. Not 0. 1. Because you need a ruler to play, obviously.
Yeah.
So main deck, you have 10 kinds of cards, 4 copies of each. So play a set of each. That's nice. You don't have to play multiples.
Yeah.
Unlike other card games.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
So special, yeah. So special magic stones. There's 2 different kinds, and they're 4 cards each. Basic magic stones, there's 1 kind, and you get 1 of them. There's no reference to the other magic stone. I'm not going to say it just because I'm pretty sure Roger is going to mention what he thinks it is. But then there's 5 kinds of cards, and there's 2 cards of each. So what are those 5 kinds of cards?
We don't know.
They have not released a single word about it. Thus, we cannot say.
As far as we know, it is 3 question marks. 3 question mark, 5 kinds. That is all the information we know.
No, it's something else. It's something else. One day. But it's just like, so those 10 cards, my viewpoint on those 5 kinds, 2 cards each, so extra 10 cards, my viewpoint is simply they're strange. Just plain and simple, they are going to be strange. I don't know what they're going to be, but they're going to be strange.
Jesus Christ.
This is new information, though. I honestly did not see this before, that it said 5 kinds and 2 cards each. This changes my thoughts on a lot of things.
Before I get into the conspiracy theory, I just want to point out that I have a feeling that this information is not completely accurate. I feel like it's mostly accurate, and including some of the parts that we might not like are pretty accurate. But I feel like this information wasn't a result of the company putting out information, but a result of whoever are in charge of these PRs at whatever. Where did these screens come from?
It was the special type of article. I forget that.
I thought it was a distributor that released it to
I
us.
think those are distributor images. These particular ones.
Yeah. It could be distributor.
So like it could be that distributors people got in touch with the company and said, "Hey, what are in the sets?" And instead of them getting a official answer, they got something along the lines of, "Well, the set is looking like this many, this many, this many, and probably this many of this." And they're like, "Okay, that's the best information we have because the company doesn't talk. So we're going to put this out as the information that we have." And like I said, most of that's probably right. But then there are some things that don't line up, like why 19 rares in SRs. Like,
19
first off,
makes
it's an
no
odd
fucking
number, and
sense.
it's a super odd number.
Because I could see it being 18 SRs. Because if we wanted to do 2 God packs, it could be like 9 SRs in each and like a special like SR promo.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Or if it was 20 SRs and our normal 10 cards,
Like, it
2
could have been
God
like,
packs per case kind of thing.
Like if it was 18, yeah, it could have been like a God pack. You get like 9 SRs, then you got like one of the Ascended Rulers.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to get an Ascended Ruler from the set.
Or just like some other special promo that would make up the
And
10
then,
It
like,
is.
if they
Some
would
that's
have
pretty rare
added
already.
one more
Yeah.
So it
card,
keeps it rare, but it keeps it more efficient.
Yeah.
so if they would have either added one more card to the what we call normal, rare, and super rare, or subtracted one card from each, if they subtracted, we would have had 144 cards in the set, which is a nice number because that's 12 squared.
Wait a second. What if that extra card is them bringing back Ubers?
So that are you talking about each card in each division, like 25, 29 normal?
Like one God pack has 4 arts.
Yeah.
Another God pack has 9, and then it has like the
Well, this is what I
ruler.
said earlier when we were at the LGS.
So that could be how you get your super per case
Yeah.
or your secret rare per case.
Yeah, it could be either one secret per case in that way, or they could just be like, hey, here's a different art of the ruler, and lo and behold, you know, it's worth more because it's harder to get, but it still gets rulers to people.
Yeah.
'Cause in theory, if you come in as a new player, you buy it. Oh, but then that's still, I don't know, man. Like, it's so weird.
But then also, if they
I wanna know more
added
about the
one
set.
to each, it goes to 150 cards, and 150 is a nice number too. So I'm just looking at this like they chose one of the most awkward numbers they could, and it's super weird. I just don't know any other way to explain. Then 80 memorial cards, which if the information that we have is true, with those being non-legal for New Frontiers, then like why more cards in a set that are not legal than cards that are legal? So there's a lot of information. I'm looking at this like,
It doesn't make sense.
even
from a
if
company.
it's true, it still begs questions. And I mean, we don't have the answers, but I feel like part of this, like I said, the information isn't fully accurate because I think the information is being corroborated on the basis of these packs in terms of like rarity structure are structured the exact same way that they are now, which I can tell you it's probably not going to be the case because everywhere that we've seen, they reference the cards as not being common or uncommon. They call them normals. Rare and super rare they've kept, but then like the numbers are weird. So it's like, what the fuck? But another article that was released from, and they do this at least once a cluster. I think they potentially do this every set, but they're not as important because it's just general information at that point. But from ICV2, I do know they put out information every cluster about Force of Will's new cluster. Like they have an article, which we'll link in the description, where it's titled Force of Will, Alice Origin Starter and Booster Deets. I'm assuming they meant to say decks, but they put out information that is very that's very similar to the distributor information. They also say, 19 rare, 19 super rare, 29 normal, 80 memorial. They don't tell us what memorials are, and also basic magic stones. And a limited PR card per box will be available for pre-orders. Each booster pack includes 10 cards, with each box containing 20 packs. Every carton will have 8 boxes. Carton is a case.
A case, yeah.
So The starter decks are interesting, though, which aren't listed by the distributors, which also begs me to believe that the distributors found some information from anybody they could and went and said, all right, this is what we got, but they didn't get the whole story, was that on ICV2, they list a similar structure. They say that 61 cards come in the starter deck, which is one ruler card, 10 kinds of cards in each main deck, so for each 40 card deck, 2 kinds of special magic stones, 4 of each, that equals 8, 1 basic magic stone, and right after that, they say an unnamed additional card, and also random 5 cards, 2 of each, but an unnamed additional card. And we have a 9-card Magic Stone deck. So unless I Spy intends on completely reworking how this game functions, we are going to have 10 stones in that starter deck. If that's the case, then this unnamed card has to be a new kind of Magic Stone, or at the very least, a new kind of card that can function as a Magic Stone. It just says unnamed card.
Yeah.
So I know when I mentioned this on Jeremy's Rule School stream, he said, "Oh, are we getting True Stones back?" I don't think it's a True Stone. They would have just outright called it. Would have been a special Magic Stone.
Yeah, because we've had that term before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A True Magic Stone is just a special Magic Stone with text that says True Magic Stone on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that. But, and this is me just like throwing wildness out there. Like, what if this unnamed card is linked to Memorial?
Oh, like you would have to have the stone in play to play like a memorial card or something like that?
Potentially. I have no idea how it could work. But just
But that
simply
would be
like,
kinda
what if
weird.
it's connected? What if this particular card that comes in the starter deck gives context to 80 cards that would potentially not be New Frontiers legal? And this is just me throwing smoke out there. I don't have any basis for this, but imagine this. Those memorial cards by themselves are not New Frontiers legal, but imagine having an unnamed card that could come into play that allows them to be played. Now, how did they balance this? I have no idea. This is Force Will we're talking about. They don't know balance.
Oh, this is
but-
I Spy we're talking about.
yeah, they don't
now.
know balance. But just like think for a second, what do you guys think that this could mean in relation to the other cards?
I like your idea. Like, it could be that. I don't think that they're gonna say memorials can be played off of the stone, but I can see them going like, "Hey, we're gonna let you have like, give it a different name and just be like, this is not a true Magic Stone. It's just a Magic Stone. Like, true Magic Stone is
What if
if
they,
Oh
what if
my
they're called
God.
memory stones?
Yeah.
So what if, and here's how they can make sure that these cards that would be coming back from older sets, because here's something to consider. There are a lot of cards in Alice that will work really freaking good with a lot of rulers and cards that we have in New Valhalla.
Oh,
like,
jeez.
I mean, sure, they reprinted Rin Secluded Refuge as red, but like, imagine if Hanzo and Shamimi had access to just straight up like Wall of Wind. Just straight up wall. Hell, straight up Seal of Wind and Light. Have it on a body and have it on a cancel spell. You have 8 Seal of Wind and Lights in the deck.
Machines with Maribella's
There's-
workshop.
Like, yeah. So to prevent that, the rulers from the starter decks in Alice Origins has text that says at the beginning of the game, search your Magic Stone deck for this kind of card and put it into play. While this card is in play, you can play cards of the Memoria type. So what that means is all of the rulers that are from New Valhalla can't use Memoria cards. But these new rulers that were intended to work with it can. And since it's coming from the Magic Stone deck, you still keep 10. So as a matter of fact, it actually doesn't have to be at the beginning of the game. It could be, what is it? Like Clockwork Furnace has that weird text where whenever you call for a stone for the first time, you can search your Magic Stone deck for any kind of stone and put it into the field.
Yeah.
So pretty much that text, but instead of any kind of stone, you search for this kind of card and put it into the field.
I can possibly see that just because there's. I'm.
It
fairly
replaces your call a stone for the turn, so you still only get one stone
Oh,
a
yeah,
turn.
no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get stones that are more specific to rulers, like specifically names rulers.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about that, just because they've been slowly leaning more towards that.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been fully there, but it's just it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Especially when we go back to Alice. And a lot of Alice's stuff was very specifically like Shion Stone, where it's just like, if you can name this specific name of the card on your top, then you get
there's
it.
only one card or one ruler that allowed you to look at the top card of your deck.
Yeah. So I can see them more going towards that, but at the same point, like, let's say in theory, like one of their specials was specific to that ruler. Mm-hmm. I guess the other one would have to be what you're saying. I don't think that they're going to make these cards New Frontier, just because that involves a lot of their own time and effort trying to make sure it's not too unbalanced. Because as much as they don't care about balance, I feel like they care enough to go, hey, if we reprint these cards and they're identical to the old ones, they just say Memorial on them, or they have like a special text. You can probably just use the old cards.
I think they're going
to. Which if you were going to buy less.
They're going to need some sort of mechanic that either balances these new rulers with the old Divinity rulers, or they'll have to like power creep them.
I think they're power creep.
Yeah,
like 100%.
Like they have to make a ruler that makes you want to play that ruler rather than.
And what better way to make you want to play another ruler over our current rulers than to tell you, hey, if you play this ruler, you get access to your old cards. You're like, what?
Fuck these 5 extra cards.
Like imagine, imagine it's like Sam's like, why? If I want to control something, I'm just play Lucifer, like black control. I'm gonna just play Lucifer. Why would I? Well, give me a card in this new cluster that would make me want to play it. Okay, so we have this black ruler. It's Rezard. Okay, and here are the memorial cards for this set. What are they? Lapis' Darkstorm. Sam is going to go off of Lucifer so freaking
it's
fast.
Mom and Dad again.
Whoa, I don't want Rezard. I want Lapis.
No, I know you want
specifically
Lapis, but if they came out with Rezard and also brought Lapis' Darkstorm in that same set, who are you choosing as a ruler?
Well, let's go through the promos. Time Space Anomaly, Lapis' Darkstorm, Black Moonbeam. You wonder why I like playing this? Soul Hunt.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
What other black cards?
So if they hit those cards behind the paywall of you got to go get the Rezard starter deck, are you going to go get the Rezard starter deck or stick with
It's not a
Lucifer?
bad idea.
That is a good idea.
My only problem is just the fact that
And they're so money hungry, they would do it.
Yeah, they're money enough to.
I know this is speculation, so they probably won't.
Yeah, okay, almost cut worlds.
I want to take a moment just to tell people we don't know anything. We
Yeah.
don't know anyone at the company. We're not
blowing
buddy
smoke.
with I don't even know the CEO's name anymore. Let's skip that. We're not buddy with Kim. We're just making stuff up. Don't take this, don't get mad at us if this turns out to be wrong or right.
Yeah.
Well, you can praise us if it's right, obviously.
I told you.
That sounds like Roger. I told you guys. You guys didn't believe me. You said there was going to be a New Frontier ready, and it is.
I told you, snitch. But no, we're just throwing smoke out there because it's interesting. We're just trying to figure out what the heck all this means, and they're not telling us.
So, like that. My other thought was for that other special. I'm just gonna presume it's gonna be special magic stone since it's not basic magic stone.
Yeah,
the stone that we're missing. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be special.
It's very
I think
special
it's
as
gonna
fuck.
be called a memory
And it
stone.
has to be one per stone deck.
I wonder. Are we gonna get like a Regalia stone?
What if they call it Regalia type? So like Regalia is a card type. We know that.
Yeah.
But what if they call it Regalia Magic Stone? That is a different.
Yeah, because they gave him special magic stone and then Regalia.
Regalia.
Regalia is a subtype, right?
Yes, it is.
They come
Or
with
a
text
type
that says search your Magic Stone deck for a Regalia Magic Stone and put it into the field. Excalibur would tap for light. Levitain would tap for red.
And that would match the rulers if we get one for every color.
Oh, I have an idea. So you said that at the beginning of the game it does this.
Well, not necessarily at the beginning of the game. At
Or
least at some point when you go to call for stone for the first
You
time.
can either call for a stone or call for the memory,
Or it could be
Regalia
that
stone.
they say at the beginning of the game you search, you put it on the board, and you two things. First off, on the rule itself it says first turn you cannot call for stone.
Yeah, or at the very least it says search your stone deck and you put it on top at the
Yeah.
very least. Some way of stopping you from just going turn one, two stones.
So my thought is like maybe like the first time you say I tap it, since my first turn it has the text that I search instead of flipping.
Yeah.
I just search it. So and then the text on the Regalia stone just says something along the lines of like if you already control a Regalia stone, banish this.
Yeah.
Or maybe not like true, but it's just like if you flip this card over and you already control Regalia Stone, you lose the game. You know, so it's like very heavy just saying you cannot play Regalia besides this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the Regalia only does, maybe it doesn't even tap for Will without the ruler or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that way it really specifically says like, because
They-
the problem
they-
with
they
Lave
push
and stuff
you.
was just like, hey, what if we put Lave in this deck or this deck and this deck? What if they just say, hey,
It only
you
works
can-
with Melgus.
it only works
Yeah.
with Melgus and you can only have one? Then
Honestly, if
boom,
anything,
Lave
I
isn't
feel
as
like that's
strong.
what hurt Melgus in the end is that one of his best cards was one of the best cards,
For
but
every
it
other
was
deck.
for everybody. So
Like-
his exclusivity was stripped from him, and he was just like,
So imagine Lave, but I'm just gonna add one single part to one single text. It only gains swiftness if it's Melgus. If that's Melgus in its name, that's it. That would change the entire thing.
that would only make 2 rulers broken.
Yeah, because,
Melgus and Sylvia.
Melgus and Sylvia, because everyone else, like most of the other red, like you take Prissia for example.
Yeah.
It's like well, if we ban just Horse, well now you can have Lave, but now you have to either Judgment to give yourself swiftness, or play Alceris,
Yeah. I don't know.
which is very very possible, but it takes more turns.
Do
That's
you
your
know
turn 3
how-
playing Alceris, having it live.
Do you know how
in
mad
turn
I'd be
4.
if they chose the option of put Resonator on bottom, get Resonator from top, and they rip a freaking Allosaurus? I'm going to
Oh, that'd be
scream.
horrible.
I can go like all I know.
Oh,
is that-
no. We're also getting rid of Hydromonica. Brick that.
So the only one
need Sacred
time
Horn back.
I ever thought about playing like flipping Pressia and putting a Resonator bottom, flipping the top card, I should have done it. I didn't do it. I did Stone. I did Smart, consistent play, pass. Opponent did something, pass back to me. I looked
Did
at
you
top-
draw a giant?
Yes. I drew a giant. And I went, well then.
You
If
could've
I
just
had
won
this
the game.
most randomest idea. I was like, I shouldn't do this, but if
I
it is a
forget
giant,
her Godzart gives everything swiftness
Yeah.
and flying.
I didn't have the gods off. But
I know, but
I
still.
could have
The
flipped.
point is
I
that
would have
the
put a
fucking
17 onto the board.
That could just nuke
With
shit.
barrier to chant.
Why did I bury the chant? We don't know. We'll never know at
I
this point.
think they
Yeah.
should have stopped at the fact it was a 17-17 with precision that could burn the board for 800 to non-flyers.
Yeah.
By the way, he was statted in a way that where he could tap twice, like tap before
I
recovery.
think you'd have like
tap.
100 left.
You have
Yeah.
100 left,
It was a 17 with 1600 damage. So
Yeah.
you had one left.
and it
So
hit
if-
J-Res, right?
yes.
Yes.
It hit anything that did not fly.
Yeah.
So there's also times where I gave him flying.
Oh,
Because I was like, oh, my opponent could possibly like tap something to kill it if I tap too many times. Give him flying, like tap before, deal 800, untap. Like tap for stone, give him flying, so that way he can fly over stuff. And I'm like, tap, deal 800 to the board. It's like now he doesn't take the damage. So that like -1 your resonator can give him doesn't work.
Hold up. I just remembered Final Battle was a promo.
but Pound also came out in Lapis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It did.
So it's only Alice
Okay.
cluster stuff.
Okay.
But are there a total of 80 promos just from Alice?
No, there's not. I don't think so.
Possibly. I don't know how many.
We'll have to check-
Well,
double
no,
check
well,
this later.
they called them PR cards, but it doesn't mean that they were originally promos.
Yeah.
They could be PR cards now.
Yeah. But I mean, I hope new information comes out within the next week. Like, I want to know more. Like, I would love it if they just started to like name us the memorial cards where they're like, hey, this is gonna be the set. This is gonna be the set.
Yeah.
Like, even if they don't tell us how they're gonna be, just be like, hey, this is in the set. Like,
Oh, I did want to point out that the ICV2 article never referenced the memorial cards as promo cards. They just said 80 memorial cards.
so I think that's the French himself came out and said like the
Oh, that they were promo
Yeah.
cards.
yeah, that he said that they were promos and that they aren't New Frontier legal. So taking upon that word, it's only promos. But at the same point, yeah, it could just be like where these are promos.
Yeah. But I think that we're kind of nearing.
Yeah.
The
So
end.
I guess to wrap it up, we wanted to talk for like a minute or two, just real quick about. So LGS, the local game store, is where we've been going more recently, and we're
Yes.
trying to get
Yeah,
a
it's
community
it's-
startup.
It's in the Richardson area in Dallas, Texas, or
Yeah.
Dallas. Everything's in
Just
Dallas.
say Dallas.
Yeah.
Just say Dallas.
Yeah.
People will figure it out.
Dallas is bigger than some states.
So
Yeah.
we'll try to like put like the address and like we can link the
Yep.
Facebook event, and then that way people can check it out if you're nearby or if you're somehow in town for that day. I suggest just coming by, if you want to learn how to play or if you just want to hang out and have fun, like we're going to be there. Some other friends of ours, new players are going to come. We're going to teach people how to play. You get a deck. The store is going to give you a drink of your choice from their selection. So it's just going to be fun, free time. Like we're just trying to get new people starting up. Like we've already had a couple people come in, and hopefully next time next week we can talk about how it went, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will help out other players trying to boost their locals. Like we know the longest amount of time we tried and we couldn't, and it's finding the right game store.
It was a struggle, all right.
But finding a game store was one thing, and then it's just like what we're doing to do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can talk next time, like most of the podcast probably about that, to say this what works, this what hasn't worked, and we can go from there.
Yeah, another project that we've been working on, besides setting up this open house, was actually building a community box. Because me, Sam, sometimes Roderick, and Big Money Kevin, you've seen in our last live stream. Big Money Kevin. We like opening up boxes and cases. And we have more fucking commons than we fucking know what to do with.
Like I said, I have this stack that I need and this stack that I don't need. So if you're watching this, you can tell that I really don't need
stack
these.
Towards the camera. There you go.
So what I need, what I have.
But
I don't need like one third of my stuff I probably need. The other half, the other 2/3 I don't.
What he needs, what he has, what we're gonna need for this damn event.
Yeah, we're pretty much putting.
You take his stack, you multiply it by 3/5 of another stack, then subtract by 2, and then double that by about this stack, and you'll have 66.6% of stacks with half a stack left, and you take the remainder and then add that to
really
another
referencing
that.
But the point
is, we're going to try and do this. We're going to talk to you guys about it next week. Hopefully, Roger will not be in such a laughable mood.
Oh yeah, we never said what the community box is, by the way. But the community box is we're putting like all of our bulk into this box for just new players just to come and take. They could shuffle through it. We'll try to keep it as organized as we can.
Because there's a lot of times where we have a new friend named Bill. Like he started playing, and the biggest thing was for him it's just finding he can ask try to trade or buy SRs and rares, but it's finding commons. If you go online and that's all you're trying to buy, it's just
and goddamn TCG players, and he's like, oh, you're not at $2 yet. Oh,
$5.
Oh, is it $5? Oh, that's $5. I thought it was $5 for free shipping.
$5 for free shipping. And then otherwise you have to pay some amount of money plus shipping.
Okay, yeah, but point is, it's
they
pretty
changed the
fucking
system
dumb.
because people were constantly being like, "Hey, I just want to buy this one common that's 25 cents," and they're like, "Okay, if you're willing to pay 75 cents for shipping, we'll send it to you." It's how
and I'm like, I don't want to fucking pay $1 for one goddamn common. So we're hoping to solve that issue among our community if we gain quite a few, or not quite a few, but at least some new players.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they'll have to go other way to get the SRs and stuff, but they'll be able to make at least somewhat functional decks with just bulk.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it for our podcast today.
Thank you for listening and sort of watching.
I don't know.
We went on a huge tangent. We first started talking about the starter decks, and to be honest with you, when I was looking at the starter decks, most of the things were in expectation, but I was also looking at I feel like part of this is because people just went wild as hell with some of the cards. They went to a GP and just was like, all right, do you have more DBV cards than I do? I don't think you do. Oh, hey, look, this one cancels. And then slap it down, a lot of white stuff. I think white is just insane.
The stop ranting.
Yeah.
My name is Joel.
Sam.
And Roderick.
This is WLTCG saying bye.
Adios, amigos. And drink your milk.